I'm Augustus, and I'm traveling in the United States to listen to real Americans and to talk to them about my candidacy for the President of the United States in 2028. I'm here in Helena, Montana, where the rugged peaks of Mount Helena and Mount Ascension backdrop the historic Last Chance Gulch. This is the 21st capital of my 50+1 Capitals tour. My plan seems obvious and necessary to me, but behind me in these halls and for other presidential candidates, it could be considered unnecessary and maybe even crazy. The plan is to visit every capital in this country over the course of about 60 days, not to give motivational speeches, but to listen. I'm here to hear about the rising property taxes that are forcing generational families off their land, the healthcare shortages in our rural counties, and the housing crisis that is turning our neighbors into a generation of workers struggling to keep up with the resort town economy. Montana is known as the treasure state, yet it feels as if that treasure is being handed to people who don't care about the lives of everyday Montanans, while it is Montanans who are doing the digging and the ranching. I'm standing at the Montana State Capitol. This building is a testament to the state's heritage, crowned by its magnificent copper dome and adorned with the murals of Charles M. Russell. The structure was built with sandstone and granite to be the heart of a vast land, a centerpiece meant to represent the enduring strength of the people. It's a tribute to a state that has always looked toward the horizon, from the Blackfeet, Crow, and Flathead nations to the miners who struck it rich in the gulches. It's easy to talk about Montana's beauty, but I'm more interested in Montana's backbone. To lead here, you have to know about the highline ranchers and the forest firefighters who don't have the luxury of stalling when things get hard. They survive because they're more resilient than the winters here. My job isn't to give you a lecture on your own geography, it's to respect the fact that the voices of the Gallatin Valley, the miners in Butte, and the students in Bozeman are all facing the same millionaire economy that is trying to price them out of the state that they built and live in. To be the leader of the whole country, you have to actually know the whole country. You have to breathe in the crisp air of Glacier National Park, admire the views along the Pacific Coast Highway, cross the mighty Mississippi, and visit the beautiful Smoky Mountains. You cannot lead a people you do not know, and you cannot know the people from inside a high-flying jet, a speeding motorcade, or a gilded office in D.C. Having lived in 7 states and visited all 50 states at least once before, I think I have a glimmer of understanding of who we, the people of the United States, are. But you can never stop learning. That's why I'm visiting each state again, and why I will continue to do so both during my campaign and during my time in office. Now you might be thinking, who is this guy? As I said, I'm Augustus. I was born in New York State 65 years ago. Like you, have spent much of my life working. I've seen presidents come and go and industries rise and fall. And I've watched as the people who keep this nation functioning, the nurses at St. Peter's Health, the crews maintaining I-15, and the staff at your local Vans Thriftway, are treated like cattle or sheep, not human beings. You may be asking yourself, is he qualified? The Constitution says I am. To me, being qualified means working as hard as I can to help the most people possible. You need to decide for yourself what qualified means to you. Think about the people who meet in this capital or in Washington, D.C. How many of them are qualified in your eyes? How many of them are working to make your utility bills manageable or your fuel prices affordable? It seems to me that many representatives have forgotten the primary requirement of their jobs, remembering who they represent. They shouldn't represent the lobbyists. They shouldn't represent their party, and they definitely should not represent the ultra-rich. Your representatives and the President of the United States should represent you, period. I stand for the people, not for corporations that treat employees like disposable parts, not for the rich and ultra-rich who treat the law as a suggestion, and not for the special interests who think their way is the only way. I believe in a land of freedom and opportunity, not a land where out-of-state investors push families out of the towns they've called home for generations. Why consider an unaffiliated, unconventional candidate like me? Maybe because you're exhausted. You're sick of having to choose between generic candidate A and generic candidate B, neither of whom has had to decide between a grocery bill and a mortgage payment. While a vote for a candidate who isn't a member of one of the 2 major parties can be scary, isn't it scarier to have to choose between bad and worse? Choose to vote for someone who will actually work to make your lives better. Vote from compassion, not fear. The motto of Montana is Oro y Plata, gold and silver. It's a phrase that speaks to the richness of the land. Sadly, it feels like that wealth is only being secured for the rich and ultra-rich. It's time to ensure that the prosperity of the state reaches the people working 2 jobs just to put food on the table and a roof over their heads. I'm headed to Boise, Idaho next. I have many capitals and many miles ahead of me. If you see me in your state, don't just take a picture, come over and say hello. Tell me what's keeping you up at night. Tell me what you want for your children. I'm Augustus, and I'm here to listen. I'll see you on the steps where you live. Where was I? Okay. Arr! I'm a, to the miners. And here is the back of my shirt because I've got to push the start button. I'm not sure if that's correct, so I'll have to check that number. Here we go. Okay, starting. Starting again.